You see,
That's what I'm talking.
the
Good,
world
good.
changed for
If
me.
you weren't gonna get that, bro, I
No,
was gonna
dude.
say.
I'm like, five. When you said five, I'm like, oh, he's doing it. Okay, all right. But anyways, welcome back to the booth, guys. This is episode 3.
Yes.
Or
Oh,
no,
four.
four.
Episode
Sorry about
4.
that. So sorry about that. My name is Kenneth. This is my co-host,
Dom.
and today is a new day. It's a new episode. So
Ooh. Yeah, I like
should I
the
just go
sound of
straight to
that.
the topic, or should I? Whatever. We'll do the fucking mentality. All right, man. So you know what? There's one prominent thing I've always noticed that's in everyone.
Mm.
Growing up, you don't feel a sense of failure, but then later on in life, a fear of failure kind of develops. I'll just go ahead on to it. I remember reading this example where when you're a baby, learning how to walk, you didn't care about failing because you didn't know what that was, right?
Mm.
So you just kept trying until you got it, and your parents were proud of you. They kept pushing you, but now fear of failure kind of develops later on in the stages of life. So maybe around what would you say, like maybe elementary?
Probably, yeah, probably elementary when you get like separated, not separated, but like joined up with a bunch of other kids that have this overconfidence.
And I feel like a lot of it has to do with grades,
Oh.
like numbers essentially.
Yeah.
But even aside from that, I think one prominent factor into fear of failing is like our parents, and this goes for like everyone else. Being from a Filipino heritage or like Asian heritage, you'll always get a sense of pressure to become something you don't want to be. And I feel like a lot of people can speak on that. Not just Filipinos, everyone.
I mean, unless you have like supportive parents, like that want to push you for your dream, then awesome for you. But just from me and Kenneth's experience, we never really had that. I mean, he kind of, it's like a good,
It was passive,
yeah,
passive.
passive aggressive.
Yeah, like my mom. Okay, my story, goes along this. So, what I wanted to be, starting from high school was, no, not even high school, in elementary. I wanted to be a computer engineer in grade 8 because we had to do a project, right? Like saying what kind of career you want to go into. I wanted to be a computer engineer heavily. But one reason why is because of Phase, bro. Because
Yeah.
they're sponsored by Ironside. I'm like, yo, their pieces are so cool. I want to learn how to code. I want to make my own designs and make them, buy it and use it and stuff. Like that's what made me. That was my dream at the time. Then later on, when I took a computer science class in grade 10, dude, that was not for me. Like I was coding, but I didn't know what I was doing. And my teacher, he was only a step ahead of us.
Mm.
He was new to teaching it, and he never did it. So it was kind of weird. So then, I'm just saying this for the record. I kind of cheated a bit.
Oh, I didn't think you were gonna say that. I remember you saying you were gonna say it.
I mean, I don't really mind anymore. It's high school.
Yeah.
But we had an ISU, right? For those of you that don't know what an ISU is,
Just like a project.
it's like your final project. That's worth a lot, you know. And then basically we had to make a game, right? And any type of game you want, and it was worth like I think 50% for ours or 30%. No, yeah, 30%. So then I made a really basic and pretty bad game. It was a hype beast on a the Babe Shark hoodie.
Yeah.
Imagine that, and then you had the hoverboard leading left and right, and you're just collecting Supreme items or something like
Oh,
that,
okay.
right? And it was horrible. I copied the code from another game, right? And then when I got it marked, I got 50%, and before the ISU, I was at 70%. And guess what I ended up with?
An 80.
Yeah, bro, my mark went up.
Okay, he told me, but like
But
you wouldn't think it would be an 80.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna complain.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Like
I got
you
that.
go from a 50, get a 70, and you go to an 80.
Like, I ain't complaining.
It's a even higher mark than. Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Okay, but yeah. So then after that, I realized like, yo, this is not for me, you know. So then I felt like I was lost, and then like I was scared to tell my mom like I don't want to do computer engineering anymore because it's something I don't want to do and I don't understand. So then I transitioned. I took art in grade 9, but then I dropped it after grade 10, and I took it back in grade 11, which they allowed me surprisingly. So then after that, I kind of like wanted. That's when I got inspired to become a shoe designer for Nike. Like Dom has a whole documentary if you want to watch that.
Yeah, bro. Lincoln bio, Lincoln bio.
I kind of regret it. Anyways, but live with no regrets. But cause one thing that was scary about like trying to pursue this was money,
Mm.
and like what if I don't become big? This is where fear of failure kind of kicked into me. It's like, okay, I gotta make it big. Like I'm always doubting myself. I was always doubting myself. Like I looked at other people's designs. Like how do I do that? Like his is better than mine. I can't compete, and everything. Right? There's a lot of like peer pressure and a lot of like influencers. Like they're just scared of their, what would you say, like their progress, their glory.
Yeah.
Like essentially something like that. And then I remember, dude, I think I'm off track.
Yeah, keep going. You're
All
good.
right. Anyways, sorry about that. Um, After that, I told my mom, and I was scared to tell her. And she'd always talk to me about become working for the airlines or whatever, like becoming a pilot and everything. And then one night, we're eating dinner. Dom calls this my shut up moment or something like that. So we're eating dinner and stuff. So we're still talking about like careers and everything. And this is still grade 11. It gets worse in grade 12 for me. In grade 11, I told her like, yeah, I want to become a shoe designer over dinner, and she's like, oh, become an airline. Like, I'm like, what's the reason why you want me to become one? Because I know you're like going out a lot. I'm like, I appreciate the consideration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then she kept going on about it. Dude, I realized it's about dreams.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, sorry.
You're still good.
Okay, and then I realized that. Oh, my mom said, yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
My mom said, why don't you become airline? I told her, no, I don't want to do that and whatnot. Then she kept pushing it a bit, right? Back to my like boiling point, or just like not even my boiling point. I wasn't that mad, but I was still like kind of frustrated and angry that she even mentioned that. So then I told her, like, dude, I remember I think I stood up my chair. I stood up my chair like no. So
Mm.
like no, this is my gene. You have no control over it. This is what I want to do. You can't do that and whatnot. I'm not gonna follow your gene because then I'm not gonna make myself happy, right? So then I after that she like quiet. I'm like in my head. I'm like, ooh, yo, I told her off. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of scared though. What
You
if
know
I,
what I just thought
yo?
of? I just thought of that TikTok where you go where they like talk and then all of a sudden they say hi to some dead person right after that
Oh yeah.
because you're just gone.
So you're off the Jews, hey,
Yeah,
hey.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. So then I'm like, yo, I'm about to get an ass beating, bro.
100%.
Cause if you want to be something that's outside of your parents' like aspirations or like anything outside that you uh anything
That isn't what they would
that isn't what they
want for
want
you.
from you,
Yeah.
it creates a lot of pressure and creates a lot of self doubt. Like some people, they go their lives living under their parents' dream and not fully pursuing theirs. Like my mom told me to hold off my dream and like make the money first. I'm like, I understand, but like,
Then you'll regret, bro.
yeah, like I'm probably gonna lose my passion.
You'll
Which
regret, and then you'll already be like I'm already too old
yeah, like
or something. Like you'll just feel like now if I go back into it, like I'm scared I'm gonna fail, right? Like you've already come so far in something else
yeah,
that going backwards is gonna feel very awkward, and it's you almost feel like you're set up for failure now.
like that's what I felt like too. And then going to grade 12, back when like applications for like university and colleges, dude, that was stressful time for me, man. Cause I remember you texted me, I think, and it's like, yo, did you hand in like your payment for the college or whatever? And I was panicking.
Oh yeah, we were. Do you remember how last minute you sent it?
Yeah,
He
dude.
sent
I
he
was at the gym.
we were at the gym and I told him, and then he called his mom immediately, and the bank numbers were
Like, dude,
overflowing.
I think, and there was also another time where like I forgot to hand in, or I forgot to do my pick the schools and whatever. And dude, I had like a panic attack or an anxiety attack, and like, cause there's like so many thoughts going through my head.
Yeah,
And
during the was this during October, I think.
February.
February.
This is when like
Oh, it
you
was
have
last
that
minute, last
deadline.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that time. It was. I mean, like now, I feel like me and Ken are in such a better place.
I'd say a better state of mind too.
Yeah, we've
Definitely.
really learned a lot, over time about how we get to this more peaceful mindset, but also like driven. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we've come across so much failure already that we know we've learned already from our
Yeah.
mistakes. Like that's what a lot of people lack is like they're scared to experience, so that now they're like, oh, like I can't make mistakes. Like
Yeah.
they've seen so many people do it first try, and that's
See,
just
that's the thing. You can't expect perfection at the first try.
like your first attempt in learning. Like that's fail. Fail
Mhm.
is first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
You can't expect the best. And I remember hearing I forgot where I heard it from, but they were like when you're first trying things, it's not gonna be the best. Every time you try something for the first time, it's gonna be your worst try.
Yeah.
And eventually, after a bunch of other tries, that's when you have like
That
your
one lucky
best.
break.
Not lucky break, but
Or
like
lucky.
you have consistency
Yeah.
at that point. Like let's say, like oh, if I was gonna play like my first Call of Duty game ever in my life, I'm not gonna be the best. I'm not gonna know the best guns. I'm not gonna like right. Like you're always gonna not have like the best time,
Mhm.
but it's a learning experience, and that's what
Yeah.
people forget.
What kind of failures or obstacles do you have to face like growing up?
So like eventually, like I mean not eventually. Sorry, from the beginning, my
Mhm.
dreams were shut as soon as grade one. I had like
Ooh, that's
well,
early,
not
man.
even like shut. Like it's not like I would go like oh like I had a mindset where I could pick rationally what I wanted to be.
Mhm.
Obviously, because when I was grade one, I probably wanted to be Spider Man.
Oh,
So
dude, I wanted to be Pikachu.
all right, you
I mean,
get
I
out of
still
here.
do.
Anyways,
Great
like
quote.
my dreams were something beyond of like I want to be Ben 10 or I want to be like it wasn't like
More of a fantasy.
yeah, it was fantasy, right? Like obviously my mindset is off.
Cause I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really care.
It's all imagination. So then grade 1 came and it was like, "Oh, what would you want to be for your career?" And you like you'd design a person.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
those.
my dad was an artist. Like I mean, he was a dentist in the
Mhm.
Philippines, but he was also like partially an artist. So what my dad did, he uh, he helped me with my project, and then I would make a dentist.
Mhm.
So my project ended up being a dentist, and for a long time, I thought I wanted to be a dentist.
Yeah.
And then, grade 8 came, and it just I had no idea what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
and everybody decided that they wanted to be something, and I kind of like held myself off because I always had this huge expectation on myself since like those leading years,
Yeah.
right? And then, what's it called? I remember one moment that I had that I knew that I had to deal with things on my own. Like, there's no point where my parents can like help me with what I want.
Mhm.
Is like my first, not my first, my grade 8 parent teacher interviews.
Mhm.
Basically, I was having like a really rough time in school, and I was just so worried about like everything going on, and like my teacher asked me like, what's going on, like, cause my parents were like, yeah, what's going on, like you're never like this,
Uh huh.
and like it was the last year, so they were always pressuring me about like, you gotta get honor roll, you gotta get like these
Ooh.
awards, you gotta this that, and you gotta be
Yeah.
good so you get into a good high school or get in like all this.
Like they wanted the best for us, you know.
They wanted the best for me, but they didn't push me in the right way, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So when it came to that, I didn't know what to like how to answer, and then I just went, I feel pressured. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I said that, I just started crying in this parent teacher interview, which was kind of
Mhm.
embarrassing, like looking back now. But like that was a moment for me that was like I don't like I felt like there was no way I could do what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And then high school came, and then my parents kind of like gave me a more like they gave me more leeway
Mhm.
because after graduation I was kind of already like this failure, like
Yeah.
this disappointment. Like it was a bad like basically graduation for me wasn't like the happiest moment in
Mhm.
grade 8. It was a moment where I felt like the lowest of lows.
Mhm.
Like compared to everybody else in my that came out of my elementary, I
Yeah.
felt like the worst student. So I kind of had like no expectation at this point.
Mhm.
And one of the things that Gary Vee says is like fail and just keep on losing so that way there's no expectation on you. You don't have to feel the need to win all the time.
Mhm.
So getting into high school, my parents kind of like I don't want to say they gave up on me,
Softened it. Softened the blow.
but in a way they kind of did give up
Mhm.
on me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so like they were on me, but they weren't on me to the point where it's like oh like you have to make it into a good university. Not just yet. Grade 9, 10, no.
Mhm.
Grade 11 though. grade 11, 12, because that's when your grades matter.
Yeah.
They were really hard on me. And so grade 11, first semester, it went really well considering I had film.
Mhm.
That's when I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm super passionate in this class. Because the first day they had people from the Film Festival come in, and there were posters around the classroom, and they're like, oh, by the way, at the end, like, you have this project film, like, you have to do the pre-production, production, and post, and you have to make a short film
Mhm.
and submit it if you want, and if you get it, then we'll take you in, right?
Mhm.
And there was like 13 accepted out of like the whole, I think out of Ontario,
Mhm.
and so, like the beginning of that class, I was like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get
Mhm.
in there. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna like direct it, and I'm gonna act in it. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be amazing. Obviously, it didn't come out amazing because I was in high school and it wasn't the best. And
But
you know,
nonetheless, it was still good effort.
it was because we were the only grade 11s that were in
Yeah.
that whole thing. And to see me on the big screen that day,
Mhm.
I already knew. I was like, that's where I want to be.
Mhm.
Everything during the whole process of it all, I was like, this is what I want.
Mhm.
And so I had an amazing first semester because what I noticed about myself was I was motivated by love.
Okay.
Because I was doing something I loved, like this class, everything else around me was doing great. I was in a positive mindset. I was in a good workflow because I had momentum from all that. And so all my other courses, like I had a great average. Like it was my best average out of every semester in high school.
Okay.
Sadly, but like yeah, this is the truth. And and then yeah, so that's when I knew like I was like I need to be in film.
Mhm.
But obviously after that course, I was like so strong about that. My parents already were like, "Yeah, no, you're not doing that." And so
Mhm.
that shut me down even more. Considering now we got to worry about university.
Mhm.
Um but but yeah, so when I started worrying about university, I was much more, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because my parents want me to do something else. They want me to make more money. Like, what if
Mhm.
I don't make any money? But then, um, like around that time, that's when we started being friends.
Yeah.
And you kind of opened my eyes to become more optimistic as long
Was
as
was this
you.
was this Hooli Gang? Like when me you and Justin went downtown?
This wasn't hula gang. This was when. This was more when it was just you and me.
Mm.
Like it was just me and Ken, like at McDonald's late at night, and we were talking about our dreams. Like it was like when we were kind of getting to know each other
Oh
more.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. I remember.
So when that happened, that was when like Kenneth really opened my eyes and was like, "You gotta keep pushing because like you know you're good.
Mhm.
Like you were telling me like you know you're good. You know you're passionate. Why are you slowing down?"
I said that. Dang.
Yeah, and so
Props to me.
as soon self five as soon
Stuff
as
five.
as
Sorry.
soon as that happened, that's when I was like, yeah, why am I doing that to
Mhm.
myself? As long as I like put more effort into like what I'm doing, then there shouldn't be any signs of slowing down.
Mhm.
And so I pushed for it like afterwards when school was just like, so basically around grade 12 I was very half and half on things, and
Mhm.
that's what ruined me. Like when I graduated,
Yeah.
it was ruined for me. I couldn't have that chance to go into a university for film.
Mhm.
But then during this time of pandemic, you also brought me back up,
Mhm.
brought my confidence back up, and then again, like I was doing something I loved,
Mhm.
right? And I was surrounded by more people that I love,
Mhm.
right? And so you it was when you told everyone to go for the G1s. That started so much momentum because Kenneth and I were working out every single day, literally every single day. He would come over, we wouldn't stop. We would be working out in my garage. We all studied for our G1s, got there, we both passed. All right.
Like I'd say that's like one of my best impulsive decisions I've ever made for anyone.
He made the whole group go for the G1s, except for a select few, but we're not gonna talk about that. We went for our G1s, and then what else happened after
Oh,
that?
Lee failed 9 times. Our friend Lee failed 9 times.
But
Sorry
basically,
about that.
there was that, and then there was us redoing the podcast, and then there's a bunch of other things that he helped me do that started this whole like I'm surrounded by everything I love.
Mhm.
He even pushed me to meet someone that is a big has a big impact on my life now,
Mhm.
and now I'm just in this whole like my surround system is built on support and love, and there was no signs of slowing down. and so that's why I went back into school, and that's why I got I got 2 jobs now. I had no jobs a few days ago. Now I got 2 jobs now. But yeah, and so I'm just in a better mindset, and it was all because of patience, this amazing support system, and then staying optimistic, but also like doing the hard work so that when you have that dream, it's not so like that light at the end of the tunnel
It doesn't seem that
get
far.
doesn't seem that far
Mm-hmm.
because everything is pushing you towards it. You
Mm-hmm.
have this strong momentum to build you forward. It's like this is what I heard. If your car broke down
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of nowhere, are you gonna just sit in that car and play victim
Mm-hmm.
and like be like, oh, like I'm just gonna sit here wait for someone to pull by
Yeah.
and wait, or are you gonna start pushing that car?
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you keep pushing that car, it gets lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Like the car starts moving on its own, right? Like it's easier for it to
Yeah.
move. That way, you are building momentum, and you're not playing the victim.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sitting still. You're actually moving,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the start of this whole like process of I'm gonna make it to where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the law of attraction, but you need to be in the mindset of I'm gonna go attract that, so that starts coming towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, but there was also stuff like martial arts. That's also been a factor. Like during the times that I did have my breaks from film as a passion, I got the job at Taekwondo, which also boosted my dreams of opening a gym one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have gotten that job if it wasn't for that support system that's within that job, and all the community that's there.
Yeah. Like one thing you really have to do, for yourself in order to actually overcome a fear of failure is, yeah, having a good support system. It's beneficial, but also you have to also motivate yourself because it all starts in you. You can't rely on others to motivate you. That will come later on, because if you're not willing to make the change to get out of the state you're in, then you're not gonna go anywhere.
I think that's totally right. I just think a lot of people can't build that motivation for themselves,
Mhm.
and here's why: they don't depend on themselves.
Mhm.
Like they don't put themselves in various situations that make them uncomfortable enough to be dependent on themselves,
Mhm.
right? Like there's so many times that in my life, for example, I just get into this really shitty situation for myself, and it's like, well, no one's gonna pick me back up.
Mhm.
I gotta do it myself, right?
Yeah.
Like I dig this hole for myself. The more and more I wait for someone to help me,
Mhm.
versus I fucking climb out that hole myself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like everyone that's trying to help you, like even if you do have a support system, those people are just kind of like, hey, you could do it, but they're
Mhm.
not gonna pull you. They're not gonna give
Yeah.
you a hand to pull you out that hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think if you're gonna motivate yourself, you gotta be able to have this self confidence.
Yeah. For sure.
Have a like build your self esteem. Because if you don't try anything, you're never gonna be in a situation that you know what you want. You know how to overcome your failures.
Mhm. And yo, when it comes to like your dreams and goals, don't care what anyone thinks, because the moment you let them in, that creates a lot of self doubt, uh, demotivates you. Like, it's just negativity pouring into your positivity, right? So if you're filled with negatives and everything, constantly doubting yourself, saying, "Oh, I can't do it, I can't make it," you're not, you know, you're just that's all you're gonna think. But once you start like putting in a positive mindset into yourself, that's when you start believing more. The more you believe in yourself, the more you believe you can do it, and you can see yourself start executing towards that dream. Like, oh, here's one part I never told you about.
Mm.
So, you know how I wanted to be a shoe designer, and I went to OCAD.
Yeah.
Basically, a little backstory. OCAD was my dream school back in grade 12.
Play the clip.
Uh, I don't necessarily regret going there, but I one thing I never told anyone, so I'll just say it here. So other than OCAD being a really bad school, cause one, my own teacher told me I don't belong there.
Bad school for him,
For me.
not bad
Well,
school.
actually, a lot of people don't like school.
Okay, well, it works for some people, but bad school for him.
Alright, fair enough.
Personally.
Most of the people I've talked with, like the friends I made at OCAD, they wanted to drop out, and I know a few actually did. But anyways, back to the story. Um, so I primarily took the course because I wanted to be a shoe designer, right? So I was going through the whole process. I'm like, dude, I'm not enjoying it, you know. And not even that, but one thing I was also one thing that also drove me into that, like kind of dropping out of it, was I was intimidated because I see everyone's work and they're like, oh damn, that's better than mine, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like we had to do all these projects. We had this one egg project where you make it an egg carton or whatever and not make it like you make it fall from like 10 feet and make sure all the at least 3 out of 6 eggs are still live. And I did mine. I looked at others and their design was amazing, and like I got really jealous and I'm like, dang, bro, like they're just so good. I stayed up hours and everything, but I saw like nothing. I didn't know what to do, and like after seeing that, I kind of drove it. Like, dang, a lot of self doubt, because when you're surrounded and like one thing, uh, prominent about it was like I gave up too soon, but I don't regret it. I don't regret coming out of that school because one, design's still my passion. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more driven to something else in a different path. You know, but basically, how I got through that when I was contemplating on dropping out. A lot of things went through my head. I called Ian because he dropped out, right? So, like, dude, I was panicking on the phone for like 40 minutes to him, and I was like, dude, I can't do it. I don't know what like I needed a backup plan. Like, a lot of it derived from fear itself, not just failing, but fear. But then again, that's what I use as motivation, fear, and just like seeing people up there. So once I kind of set my course, like straighten myself out a bit. You gotta take a breather sometimes. Like that's essential. So I took a breather, decided, okay, I'm gonna pursue business because that's what I'm good at, and that's what I actually like, and I know ways I can do that. So then, still on the way, kind of doubting myself because I told my mom, and then she got really mad. It's like, oh, you start something but you can't finish. She told me that, like, dang, she's right. Should I just
Mm-hmm.
stay? I'm like, no, I don't know. And like, I was just really confused. So that wasn't healthy. But then I ended up finishing the course early because of COVID, and then set sail or like set my course. Like, okay, I'm doing business. I'm staying put to that, and now I'm putting more work than I ever did. And just gotta have a pretty good support system. I constantly motivate myself. I push myself to push others too. That's just me. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Take a pause real quick.
I think we're off track.
Wait, wait, just no, no. You can keep going. Just hold on. Let me just
Advice.
advice. Any people that are scared they don't have their life figured out. Are scared that people will support them. How to stay self-motivated. Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so another part that we want to talk about is like any like certain advice that we could kind of give you guys if there are any people that like they don't have people that love like people that they love don't support them or they feel lost and how do you stay self motivated, right?
Mm.
So personally, like me and Kenneth, like we have just been as soon as like me and him became best friends, like we instantly like help each other when it comes to like supporting each other, right? So it's kind of hard to give this type of advice just because like we haven't been in a situation where the people that we love don't support us.
Yeah,
Um,
but we'll do the best that we can.
yeah. So when it came to like my parents
Mm-hmm.
and like those are the two people that brought me into this world,
Yeah.
right? Like they are the people that I love the most, and not having their support was one of the hardest things. But eventually for me they had to give in, right? But even if it wasn't for them, I had support from my friends. I had support from like my significant other. I had support from my brothers. But even if you can't have that, if you can't have support from your friends, first off, you might need to get new friends. No offense, but
That's
like
that's that's true. Or even like you have to like let yourself go away from them.
yeah, because they're holding you down.
Yeah.
You can't have people that don't bring you up when you're
Or who
feeling
just want
down.
to stay in one place
Yeah.
or in a comfort zone.
You gotta find people that have the same mindset as you, or at least the mindset that you wanna attract, the mindset that you wanna have. Like, let's say you already have this, no offense, but loser mindset.
Mhm.
If you have this loser mindset of playing victim, not taking responsibility, and like to blame other people, I know, then you gotta find people that they do take responsibility. They do to make actions towards their problems.
Mhm.
Like they find solutions, whether versus finding problems. You gotta find those people, and then that's when you get sort of like how do I say this, influenced by that type of mindset.
Mhm.
If you don't have that type of mindset, you gotta find people that have that mindset. I didn't. I know I didn't have that. I mean, I did growing up, but then it sort of like got shot down
Mhm.
by this fear of failure. But then finding my friends now, that's how it's sort of built up again. Because like now it's like, okay, I have this self esteem because they see a lot of good in me that
Mhm.
I couldn't see.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, you're not your own type.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, let's say I go, oh my god, like I'm ugly, right?
Yeah.
But then like a lot of people say like, oh no, you're not ugly. You
Mhm.
gotta find more people like that. So you kind of brainwash yourself, be like, yo, you're pretty good looking, bro.
So
Like,
you just really want like a lot of like positive, optimistic friends.
yeah.
That's essentially.
And you gotta hear that voice because a lot of the times, if you've already heard something negative, a lot of the times it sticks in your head and it just
Mhm.
replays and replays and
But
replays.
then I feel like one thing that factors into that is some people, they have real friends, but they don't see it. Like they tell you something, yo, you're doing this wrong. You're
Mm.
gonna take it. They might take it as a negative, you know.
Yeah.
So you need friends that are kind of blunt and tell you like what you're doing is wrong or what you're doing is right. Because if they don't tell you, if they don't really put you in your place, then you're gonna go about thinking like you know what you're doing is right, when really it might be wrong. You know,
Either blunt or just like,
straight up.
yeah, like they could be blunt, but they could also tell you in a way that they know is gonna push you. Like for example, maybe blunt doesn't work with me,
Mm-hmm.
but then like let's say in some certain situations, like they find a way to
Mm-hmm.
like motivate me.
Yeah.
That's what they use. Like you gotta find friends that can also adapt to you.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't adapt to you, they're not for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You'll clip that.
What other questions do we have? People that don't have their life figured out.
I say keep searching, man.
Dude, if you're like in your teens, if you're in your 20s, in your 30s, you still have like
You still have a
what?
lot of
You
time, man.
still got like 60, 70 more years left to figure that out.
Like yo, I even hear stories like the founder of KFC was like 66 when he founded KFC.
Boom.
A lot of people like they were like late 40s, 50s, and now they're like running multi-billion companies and stuff. Like it's never too late. If you
Yeah.
think it's too late, then you're kind of stupid.
If you think it's too late, it's a loser mindset. You're giving yourself an out. You can't give yourself an out. You gotta keep pushing for excuses to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
or else you're basically saying, like, you're basically just dying. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like, what can I do? Like, I can't live. But there's a medicine. There's a certain like, procedure that you can do. Don't find yourself excuses out.
Mm-hmm.
Always keep finding excuses to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? I was my one of my friends were in a Zoom call
Yeah.
in their university, and they were in a class with like a woman that has a family,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there are times when you can be in class, like if you're in university, you'll find a lot of older people going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it's too late. You can still go back for education.
Like, what if their goal is to just like have still and like finish life with a degree?
Exactly. Like
No, they're still pushing harder than you.
always find more goals. Life
Yeah.
like life is so long.
Like yo, during your life, you have to take risks. Even if you're feeling lost, keep trying to find whatever you're trying to get into, because well, yeah, for me, wanted to be a computer engineer, but then found out it's not for me. Then I want to become a shoe designer. I still kind of do, but I'm taking an alternate route, and now I want to be like an entrepreneur. And like I just kept searching, like without even knowing. Like I didn't stop after like one failure. Like I kept going without noticing. Like you have to keep going. You have to keep like making progress. Like don't think it's just the big wins that matter. The small wins always matter, because after a small win, it kind of boosts your self esteem. Like oh
Momentum, bro.
yeah, momentum, consistency. Like that's what you need to become like better in your life and fully enjoy it. You know, and don't just focus on like the end goal. Enjoy the journey as well. Like go through the failures, because failing is one of the best parts in life. If you don't fail, you're not learning.
Facts. if you're also like, what was I gonna say? Fuck, I missed it. Oh yeah, people think that life. Some people say life's too fast, and
Mm-hmm.
by the end of your life, or by the end of like, I don't know, some certain degree that you look back on your life, you go like, yeah, life's too fast. But at the same time, life is long when you consistently put yourself in situations where you have to accomplish a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say I go, okay, like recently I just changed my daily schedule so that I work out at 7 a.m. in the mornings. That means I have to wake up at 6. I get to the gym by 7, and then I eat breakfast, and then I learn all these things that I'm gonna do every hour, every minute
Mm-hmm.
of the day. Boom. When I like it's time for me to go to bed, I go, wow, I did a lot,
Yeah.
and it was a long day,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's it feels long, but if you sit down on your couch and you binge watch Netflix, bro, like 2 hours pass by,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes what? Like life's too fast. Or if you
You're just
waste
wasting your
time,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you waste time, even like let's say, people that like no offense, like let's say people that do drugs
Yeah.
or people that drink and they go party or whatever, like it's not like obviously there are some moments where you have to live life,
Yeah.
right? But then there's like a time where it's like it's too much to the point where now what am I gonna do for the rest of my life? I've
Mm-hmm.
wasted so much time, hours that I could have spent figuring out what my life is gonna be like.
Yeah.
Don't spend your time like moaning about like, oh, like I don't know what to do, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm just gonna do what I think is fun. Like stop, just stop complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Think, like you got a brain for a reason, bro.
Like, yo, don't get me wrong. Like having fun, yeah, it's fun. But there's always like a certain time where you can have fun. The rest is like just grinding and everything. Because the more effort and work you put into something, the faster you'll get there.
Mhm.
You know, if you're always out partying, drinking, spending money and whatnot, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get as far. You put one, if you put 1 hour of work into something you want to do. Let's say starting a business, right? Then it might take you longer. While someone who puts like maybe like 16 hours, because there's some people who do that. They put 16 hours a day to work on their business. They'll get there faster than you because they're consistently trying and whatnot. Within that 1 hour, you can't do much, but 16 hours you can do a lot.
Yeah, bro. Like Kobe said, bro. Like if you have a morning practice and then you eat and then you recover and then you go afternoon practice and then lunch and then whatever and then you have a night practice and then you go to bed early and then you let your body recover that 8 hours and you're back at it in the morning. You've already accumulated like, let's say, 5 hours of practice.
Mm-hmm.
When a lot of people maybe they skip practice or they only have a 1 hour practice, you're like at least 4 or 5 hours ahead of that person.
Mm-hmm.
You're ahead of everybody else, and then add that all together. How many hours are you ahead?
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
You're almost maybe like I don't know, maybe like a whole month's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna be insane. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be way ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
And once you put yourself in that like state of mind, like you're just gonna be the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
The everybody that's been successful in life hasn't had a day where they haven't worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's working hard or having a day to like have some self care,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you also gotta fix
Yeah.
the
You always
machine.
have to take a break in the
Yeah,
breather.
you gotta fix the machine that's working
Yeah.
hard, right? How to stay self motivated? You can go first.
um, for me, the way I stay motivated is I ask myself, okay, where do I want to be? Is this where I want to be right now? So like where I want to be in the future, I want to have a nice home, family. I want to be rich and whatnot, and like be helping people. But I can't do that unless I don't put in the work. So that's when I start putting in work. Another thing I do is I think about my friends and family. I'm like, okay, they're putting work. They're here. I love them, and I also want to see them at the top. And so I want to do my best to get there first, so I can also help them get to where they need to be. You know, because I care about my friends. I love them a lot. I love my family. Like I always want to see them do better and everything. So I think about them, seeing okay, if I fail now, or if I give up now, I'm giving up on them.
Mm.
So I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's and not necessarily pressure on myself, but it's like good type of pressure. You know, like okay, I gotta keep going, no excuses and whatnot. Like I try not to slack as much, even though I have, but like I do my best not to slack because once I do, I start falling back a bit.
Start declining.
Yeah, so then I gotta pick myself up again, and I also since I like clothes and everything, one thing that also motivates me because I like to design and to make clothes is I look at other people's clothing, see what they're wearing, see their shoes and whatnot, and what goes through my head is like, oh, that's a pretty nice fit. And I think about, oh, what if like I made an outfit or made these pants or shirt whatnot, and I see people wearing it, like okay, then I gotta get to work. You know, I want to see people wearing it. I want to see people having my stuff, maybe even reselling whatnot. But I can't do that unless I put in the work. You know, and just seeing everyone up there and getting a lot of positive vibes and everything. My support group, like seeing them do good, makes me want to do good. You know, how about you?
First off, I used to do this thing where I would get on track, and then I'd self destruct.
Mhm.
Self destruct meaning I'd like let go of everything, and I'd screw up by myself because I get into a state of like progression, and then I'd plateau.
Mhm.
And when plateau happens, it's like, oh my gosh, there's nothing left to do, and then I self destruct, so I go backwards,
Yeah.
and I restart again. Terrible mindset. I got off that. Now it's more like, well, first I think about what am I putting in my body, what am I eating, right?
Mhm.
So I make sure that like if I'm gonna put out good results, I have to eat something good.
Yeah.
Like I have to be eating the foods I need to be. No junk food. Like yeah, one meal, one cheat meal, not cheat day, cheat meal is
Okay.
okay, but I need that to happen. And now I'm starting to wake up early
Mhm.
and make sure I start ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
so that in the morning I go, like I said, I go to the gym.
Mhm.
When I go to the gym, I've already progressed in something.
Yeah.
So there, boom, two things: eating healthy, or as healthy as you can at least,
Mhm.
so that you feel good, and then what's it called? Working out. Working out is a big thing because you're physically pushing yourself through this difficult process that makes you go, I can go through anything throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I'm motivated that way. Like I can do anything now. So that's eat healthy, gym, and then I also make sure I have goals.
Mhm.
Like what do I want to accomplish? It's like, oh, maybe this time I won't have that cheat meal. Maybe this time I won't. I'll get up to this weight when I start lifting.
Mhm.
Always have a goal. Always have a plan. And then I also make sure that I was on a good track. Boom, boom. What else do I do?
Working out.
I stay disciplined. I make
Mhm.
sure that whatever I'm doing, I stay on that, or else if I get off track, that's how I know I'm gonna start like declining and failing again.
Mhm.
I stay disciplined. I was on a good track again. What
Yeah.
happened? Um,
Sorry about this, folks.
it's okay. I'll fucking cut it. I'll cut it, yo. I'm the editor.
Bloopers.
Okay. I also make sure I'm getting positive feedback from myself,
Mhm.
but also from my support system. I make sure I don't allow any negative thought.
Mhm.
I don't give myself time to overthink.
Yeah.
I tend to get like anxiety, right?
Mhm.
Like where I go in this state of loneliness and I just have constant thoughts going in my head of these replaying these bad voiceovers of from other people that don't matter
Yeah.
anymore. I make sure that that never happens. I always keep myself busy so
Mhm.
that there's never a moment where I'm alone.
Mhm.
Like maybe I'll do meditation for like that time. Like let's say the only time I have alone is like when I read or when I'm like meditating.
Mhm.
During that time, I'm playing music,
Mhm.
so that way I have no time to think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of the lyrics to the next song, but it's not happening. So that's basically what I do, and I always remind myself of virtues like patience and like I have to remind myself like it's okay to fail. I gotta remind myself like to stay optimistic.
Mhm.
I always remind myself that right now I'm just in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
Like I'm always gonna progress.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's sort of it, I guess. I don't really have anything else at the moment other than support system, patience. I work out, make sure I eat healthy.
Oh, especially love yourself.
Loving yourself comes with building.
Yeah.
So unless you're egotistical, I don't
Okay.
know. Cough, cough, can't.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. But dude, I do the same thing too with the busy
Yeah,
thing. Like I keep myself busy so I don't think.
yeah.
And like not only it's good though, but like obviously from time to time you have to kind of like acknowledge the thoughts.
Mm.
You know, like good or bad. You know, kind of like know where you're at. Then you're like, all right, next. Then just keep going.
Mm.
That's what I do. Kind of like to self-evaluate what I'm doing and whatnot. Take myself a little break.
Oh, that too. Sorry. Yeah, break.
Mhm.
I also like make sure like yeah, if I'm packed Monday to Saturday,
Mhm.
I gotta make sure that Sunday, even though it's a rest day, it's also work day in terms of I gotta reboot and fix the
Mhm.
machine that is doing all the work,
Yeah.
right? Like I put one day where I just have time to myself,
Mhm.
where like I don't know like what I do, but I make sure that I
Mhm.
get the rest that I need because I know that when you get in the state of grinding, and you tend to like get into a state of I forgot what it's called, but like resistance.
Mhm.
You're like pushing, 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 and then boom, like you hit some block,
Yeah.
and like you overheat. You can't
Mhm.
be doing that to yourself. You gotta cool down, and then boom, get right back into it. And that's sort of it, I think. You got anything to add?
Um, not much, but if you guys ever want to talk about anything or whatnot, or like anything really, like if you need questions, just comment down below or like personally message us, and we're always willing to help you. We just
Yeah.
need to find a time, and we'll for sure get back to you.
And if anything, if we can't reply to your DMs or whatever messages you send us, we're always welcome to answering questions on the podcast
Yeah.
because like that's what this time is for. Is
Mm.
for like giving you guys content that you guys can like just use like
Yeah.
to help you guys.
And obviously, right now, this is the advice we have at the moment. But obviously, as we grow older, we'll change it up a bit. Cause we're only 19, bro.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, a lot of people do say we have a lot to say, and
Mm-hmm.
we're quote unquote wise. You know, but
We know what we're doing.
yeah,
Well, really, we don't. We do and we don't. We do now, but like obviously after that, then we'll realize, oh, we didn't know that much.
yeah.
Like it's always a learning process.
You always have to relearn some things too. But that concludes episode 4 for the booth. It has been Kenneth,
And thank
and please comment, like, and subscribe.
our Instagrams and our social media links will be below, or they'll be on the screen.
Yeah, and if you guys also haven't yet, subscribe to our Patreon. We have our How I Met Your Mother episodes there, so if
Oh,
you're interested in those, go ahead.
we have a Patreon.
Come on, dude, you know this.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you went. Okay. Anyways.
Anyways, that's been it, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and hope you have a great day or night or whatever. Love you.
Peace out.